Hi, you're listening to Richard Butler of richardbutlerthesuccesscoach.com. Welcome to Successful Living Part 2. This video is going to talk about goal planning, and we're going to look at why it fails and what we can actually do to make it succeed. We're going to look at how to form goals in NLP, or what we like to call in NLP, well-formed outcomes, and what to do when procrastination strikes. But more on that later. So, goal setting. The normal experience that people have of setting goals is usually around the end of December, beginning of the new year. We call them resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to change job. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Now, the problem is that these don't really work because people don't really think about the goal. They don't think about why they're setting the goal. They don't think about what they want to achieve from actually achieving that goal. And normally, 3 weeks down the line, they break their resolution, or their goal doesn't come out correctly, and they say, I just can't give up smoking, I just can't give up drinking, whatever it may be. So most people have a negative experience of goal setting. And of course what happens is, if they start off the new year with a negative feeling about goal setting, it's going to be very hard to set proper goals then later on during the year. Now, if you've worked in business, or if you've done a little bit of research, you will have heard of SMART goals, which means that they're specific goals, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're timely. Now that's a better way to set a goal, that it's specific. I want to lose 4 kilos by the 15th of August. It's measurable because you can measure how much you're actually losing, and the time is there. Achievable, well, how do I know it's achievable? I've done it before. Or, I know that I can't lose, we'll say 10 kilos, but I know that it's actually achievable to lose 5 kilos. It's realistic. Again, with goals you have to be realistic. One of the things that I always say to people when I'm giving seminars is, I'm not going to be able to go out and run the marathon next year because I'm not fit enough to do that. That's not saying that I won't be able to do it at a later stage, but at this present time I won't be able to do it. So I'm being realistic. I'm not limiting my belief, I'm just being realistic. And then the timeliness is that you put a time frame on it. Now, this type of goal setting is good, but we can get a better goal setting, and this is using NLP, something that we call well-formed outcomes. Now, I'm going to take you through the 6 sort of criteria for well-formed outcomes. They must be stated in the positive. So instead of saying, I want to lose weight, you're going to say, I'm going to get fitter, and I'm going to be a size 12 dress size, or size 8, whatever it may be in your particular country. But you state in the positive, because one of the things the mind doesn't like is negativity. It doesn't like losing something, because if you're losing something, that's a bad thing. You lose money, you're out of pocket. So by saying you're going to give up, or you're going to lose something, it's not always the best way to frame a goal. This always makes me laugh, because there was an ad for a cigarette patch, and it was like, don't think cigarettes. And the problem is, with that negative statement, you have to think about what you're being told not to think about before you can even not think about it. So if I said to you, don't think of a green fluffy elephant flying through the snow, before you can actually stop thinking about that, you have to imagine it, because how can you imagine something that you can't see? So you have to think about that particular statement. So a negative statement is very bad. You should be able to represent the goal in sensory systems. So, how's it going to feel by losing the weight? I am going to feel amazing. I'm going to look, much, much healthier. I'm going to have a beautiful body. It's going to be lovely to touch. Okay, let's talk about that. And I'm just going to be really, really, I'm going to look fantastic. So it has to be a sensory. You have to be able to picture it, and this is an important thing that we go through on the live seminars, about the actual visualization is so important. Like in the SMART goals, it must be achievable. You should also make sure then that you have all the resources you need or have access to them. So for example, do you have a home gym? No. Do you have access to gym equipment? Yes. Okay, so that's going to make your goal easier. Do you have access to trainers? Yes. In the gym you'll have fitness trainers. So you must have the resources available to you. Because if I go out and say I want to build a fantastic house, but I don't have plans, I don't have bricks, I don't have windows, it's a bit stupid for me to set a whole goal up to say I'm going to build a house if I don't have it. Now I know that's a ridiculous sort of statement, but it's very true. You must have the resources. Now you must have a defined time frame, because the problem is if you don't have a defined time frame, we tend to put it off. And we'll talk about procrastination in a few minutes. But this can be the major problem, that people put off getting to the goal. And with a defined time frame, you know that you have this certain number of weeks in order to achieve what you want to achieve. And the sixth thing that is really, really important is it must be ecological. Now what I mean by that is that if I say I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week and work out for 3 hours a day, that's going to affect some other part of my life. So that could mean I'm not spending enough time with my family, could mean I'm not spending enough time on my business, or I'm just not spending enough time meeting people and networking. So ecology is very, very important. You must make sure that by doing one thing, it doesn't affect other things in your life. And again, in the face-to-face coaching or the seminars, we go through something called the wheel of life, because everything is interconnected. So if you set your aim or your goal at creating or increasing your wealth by $500,000 in the next 6 months, yes, it's achievable. Yes, you have the resources. Yes, you can feel it, you can see it, it's positive. But what are the consequences of that? You're going to be working so hard that you won't actually see your family. So you need to think about those things. Now, what about procrastination? Everybody has this. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. I'll think about it some other day. Now, procrastination is putting things off. And why do we do it? Because sometimes it's just easier to say, I'll do something, I'll make that call later, I'll go to that meeting later, or I'll arrange that meeting later. But again, it's like a fear that we have, or we don't want to do it. It's easier just to do the easy things first and not the difficult. So how you stop procrastination is you just do it. Plain and simple. If there's something you don't like, you just do it. Because the less you the more you put things off, the easier it is to put things off. So the problem is that you get into a habit and you get used to putting things off. And that becomes a habit, and then it becomes very difficult to break that habit. So what you actually need to do is you need to make sure that when there's something that you don't really want to do, you just do it. You just get up, you do it, and that's it. You make that one call. And once you made one call, it's 2 calls you have to. You might as well make a second call. When you make the second call, sure, you might as well make the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth call. So to stop procrastination, you just have to do it. You have to say to yourself, what are the disadvantages? What is going to happen to me if I don't do this particular thing? And when you have to make those disadvantages outweigh the advantages of just putting it off for another day. So if I don't make the call today, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose the sale. I'm going to get in trouble with my boss. If I put the call off until tomorrow, I'm going to be more anxious about the call because I didn't do it today, and that'll probably make me put it off more and more and more. So procrastination has to stop. You just have to do it. So that's as far as I'm going to go with these 2 videos, but I do want you to come back to the YouTube site that I have, which is www.youtube.com/Richard Butler Coach, or you can go to www.richardbutlerthesuccesscoach.com or www.coachingfundamentals.com. Thank you very much. You've been listening to Richard Butler, International Life and Business Coach.